Okay, let me hit my cook down. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am on location in Dothan, Alabama. I had to do Mr. Javid Dinkins. I had to talk to some high schoolers today. It was a gym full of high schoolers, and I had to channel my Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and we had a good time, Javid.
Okay.
We had a good time. Well, do me a favor real quickly. Introduce yourself to everybody again, man. Let them know who you are and where you're zooming from.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Sims, for having me on here. As usual, I really appreciate your hospitality and your accommodation. My name is Javid Jenkins. I am from the Chicagoland area, and basically, I am a father, I am a husband, and
Yeah.
I am a son, caregiver to my mother.
Yeah.
That is what has taken up most of my time in my day for the last 2.5 years.
Oh, wow, wow. Well, that's what I wanted to talk about today because we saw a TikTok that you did, and you basically kind of went through a regiment that you had with your moms. You know what I'm saying? And so, well, how did you get picked, if you will, to be your mother's caregiver?
Okay. That's a good question. The question was, how did her child, end up being her caregiver?
Yes, sir.
Um, Basically, what happened was my mother had 4 sons,
Okay.
and she wasn't married. My 3 brothers preceded me in death.
Oh,
So
wow.
yes, I'm her only surviving son.
Okay.
And things were going fine with mom. Mom was not having any trouble. She was sharp as a tack, very responsive, very, independent, all of that.
Yeah.
But around about mid 2019, I started noticing a few little hiccups in her thinking and in her movement.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things that was a big alert for me was in 2019, she called me up in a panic. And I was like, Mom, what's wrong? What happened? And she's like, my bank account is in the negative. Somebody's been stealing my money.
Oh, wow.
In a minute, I'll get over there to find out what's going on.
Okay.
So I get over there and I pull up her bank statements and I look at her bank statements. It's a current statement and it wasn't negative. She had money in there. I'm like, let's call the bank.
Okay.
So I called the bank and basically we found out after some digging that Mom had been sending her bills in. She's been sending duplicates of her bills every month for like the last 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So she would send the mortgage twice, she would send the gas twice, everything twice. And those companies, they're not going to look at it and say, oh no, she sent 2 payments, let's send one back. They're just going to cash it.
That's right.
So
That's
they were doing that for like 3 or 4 months to the point where it eventually took her account and drained her account.
Oh,
So
wow.
we had to remedy the account, get money in there so it wasn't in the negative.
Right.
And then that's when I started taking over her finances because I realized that she wasn't able to pay attention. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's just a little thing. So Mom, don't worry about it.
Right.
Set your bills up on automatic pay online and you ain't got to worry about it. Just let the money come in and then it'll go out and go shopping and you'll be good.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's how it started.
Okay.
But then when we got into COVID,
Okay.
that's when she took a big dive. That's when she took a big dive mentally. So when COVID started, the very first thing we were all told was to stay away from our seniors.
Wow.
Go into contact with your seniors because you don't want to put them at risk.
Okay.
So at the time, she was living there by herself, and I said, Mom, here's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to bring you groceries, and I'm going to, sit them in the kitchen and get out because I don't want to run the risk of infecting you if I got it.
Right.
She says, okay, let's do it that way. So I would take the groceries in, put them down. I'd wave at her, look in her room and wave at her, and we just keep moving and we talk on the phone.
Right.
It was the next week when I came back and noticed that all of her perishables had not been put away.
Oh, wow.
Looking, I'm like, okay, something not right there. So then I started trying to stay there with her more because I realized something was going wrong. She needed the interaction because, she'd been isolated.
Right.
She got sick with COPD.
Okay.
Her oxygen level dropped really dangerously low, and I had to rush her to the hospital.
Wow. Okay.
And once I got her to the hospital, that's when the biggest chunk of her mental decline happened.
Okay.
I got her to the hospital. Her oxygen level was really low, and then while in the hospital, she began to sundown.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know, when an elderly person starts sundowning, what that is in the evening hours, they get very confused and disoriented to the point that they don't know where they are.
Oh,
and
wow.
They're very afraid.
Okay.
So it usually happens when they're in an unfamiliar environment.
Okay.
So she was at this hospital. She didn't know where she was. They kept her there for 30 days because they had to build her oxygen up, and then they ran all kinds of tests to make sure she didn't have COVID and everything.
Right.
So she started sundowning every evening around 4:30. She started freaking out, and so we had to, I had to come over there and calm her so that she would stay there. She kept trying to escape the hospital.
Right.
Once we got her out of the hospital, got her back home, she snapped back, but it wasn't a complete snapback.
Okay.
6 months later, she ended up in the hospital again.
Yes,
Same
sir.
issue.
Yes, sir.
Oxygen levels dropped.
Wow.
Sundown again. This time she didn't snap back. And at that point, I realized that I have to take up my mother's full care. I have to be here for her. And at the time, she was able to do things like wash herself and toileting and things like that. But that has declined to the point where she can't do all that on her own either.
Right.
So now I'm pretty much 100% full caregiver now.
Well, let me ask you this. So is she living with you and your family?
Did what now?
I said, is she living with you and your family now?
No, she's still in her home. Because again, the familiarity, you have to give them surroundings that are familiar.
Oh, okay. I'm with you.
If she's not in a familiar surrounding, she's going to have a big flip out. So what I do is I have scheduled nurses.
Good.
So like right now I'm here in my home.
Okay.
Speaking with people. There's a nurse there with her now.
Okay.
And, that nurse will be there with her until 3:30.
Okay.
I go and spell that nurse for a couple of hours. We do dinner and whatever, and then another nurse overnight comes.
That is phenomenal. And you know what I don't notice? I don't notice you getting exasperated by the whole process since, I guess 2019 to now. You seem pretty, as a matter of fact, it's moms, I got to take care of it. We got a team of nurses. I do what I got to do. How have you stayed so level and still do everything that you do with your business, etc.? How have you stayed so level-headed, Jenkins?
Well, the question is, how do I keep my sanity and all this?
Yeah, exactly.
The first thing is I don't turn the camera on when I'm not feeling my best.
Amen.
When I am going through moments, because there are moments where I have depression about this. There's moments where I'm very extremely sad about it because it's not an easy thing to watch your mom disappear.
Yes, sir.
I like it.
Yes, sir.
I liken it unto watching an ice melt. Just seeing it just disappear a little bit at a time.
Okay.
So those are the times I don't turn the camera on.
Yes, sir.
You guys don't get to see those moments. But the second thing is my wife is very, very good at bringing me out of those moments.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I'm having situations where I'm going down and she sees it. She's very good at bringing me out and lifting me up and encouraging me and pouring back into me so that I can continue to go. Because not only do I have to go for my mom, I got to go for my family too.
Amen. That's what, man. That's good. And so your TikTok the other night, how did you stumble upon that regimen? You said you were giving your mom something like some edibles, etc. How did you stumble? How did you stumble onto that?
So, how did I come across the edibles as a suitable option for mom?
That's right.
Just like any great discovery, Dr. Sims, it is by pure accident. Pure accident. So part of me trying to deal with anxiety and things like that with going through this was one of the results was I wasn't sleeping well at night.
Understand. Okay.
I would struggle to fall asleep, and then I would wake up 2 or 3 in the morning and couldn't go back to sleep.
Gotcha.
So a friend of mine was like, "Yo, man, you need to try some of these. I know you don't smoke, and I know you don't do that, but you need to try these." I'm like, "Dude, I don't want to be involved with that." No. You just try this. And he gave me some popcorn.
Understand.
And I took a little bit of it, a slept like a baby. I'm like, okay. So
Okay.
I would keep some of that around me at times, and it's not every night because it does mellow you out for the whole day, and
I
I don't need to
understand.
be that chill all day.
That's right. That's
So
right.
I would keep it around for when I'm stressed and I need to go ahead and get a little rest. And one day I was over at mom's, and she just wouldn't sit down.
She
Wouldn't
wouldn't
sit
do
down.
it. She wouldn't do
Up,
it.
no, she was up, she was roaming, she was turning stuff over, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. The medication that I had given her, that the doctor had given us, was not working. I had doubled up on it, and it wasn't doing anything.
Right.
And so I had these cookies in my bag. I had just went and picked up a order.
Okay. Okay.
I know that mom sweets soothe her. Any kind of sweets will soothe her. So I'm like, let me get this ice cream going. Pull the ice cream out, put it in a bowl, and I ain't have no cookies to give her with the ice cream. So I'm like, well, I'm just gonna give her one of mine. I broke it in half. I gave it to her.
Right.
She ate it down. And brother, when I tell you the next day, I came in that house and I'm like, hey, you all right? She was laughing and calm, and I said, okay, on to something here.
Hey man, that is good,
So
dog.
I watched her, and I noticed when the effects started to wear off, she started getting a little agitated again. I said, okay.
Okay.
So through a little trial and error, we kind of figured out how much she can tolerate versus,
Okay.
what lasts and what window to give it to her. So
Okay.
every night before bed, she gets a half of a cookie
Okay.
with her dinner.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Carries her through the whole day.
That is phenomenal. So what you would like? You call your friend up and said, "Man, thank you for that popcorn."
Right. I was like, look at man, you may need to change your marketing because this stuff you need to start providing this to all persons with dementia and Alzheimer's.
Oh wow.
And it may or may not work for everyone. I don't know. I know it works for my mom, but man, when I tell you the difference is night and day.
Yeah. That's good. So what you're saying is that when she's sundowning, that's when you give her a little bit of a cookie or something sweet. Is when it's that around 4:30, 5 o'clock, and it kind of takes her through the night.
Well, something like that, yes. But here's the thing: the sundowning is kind of the indication, that something's coming.
Right.
But once it comes, sundowning it kind of stops. She just goes through these emotions all day.
I got you.
Kind of like your brakes on your car. You got that little indicator when it's getting low, it starts whistling.
Right.
When that whistle is gone, that means the brakes are gone.
Yeah,
so,
I know that.
It doesn't sundown anymore. I mean, those emotions and things that can happen at any time of the day now.
I got you, man.
Not just at evening.
Well,
but I try to give it to her in the evening so she can have a restful sleep.
Well, man, I want you to know right now that